Welcome to the Headley Highlight Show's Headley Headspaces. The Headspaces are a series of thoughts and musings I have during the course of the week, and I chew all over them and I share them with you. And this particular headspace is called David Lammy. Dodging your taxi fares, Mr. Lammy? Allegedly. When did we stoop so low? Before I jump into this week's headspace about David Lammy dodging his taxi fares, I would like to say that I have reached a milestone, yes, darlings. I now have 1,224 subscribers. I've gone up by 15, I think. So this week I'd like to go up by 20. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Jump all over the channel. It's fabulous, darlings. And you can become the 1,228. I'm aiming to get to 1,500 and then 2,000. And who knows after that? So jump all over it and like, share and comment. Or go to my website and make a donation at deniseheadley.com, where I am partial to 3 wings and chips and a Miranda. Or you can get me oxtail, rice and peas, chicken, fish and chips, onion bhaji, a kebab, a shawarma from any of my local restaurants locally. Thank you so much. So let's jump all over why David Lammy is in an argument, apparently because he dodged his taxi fare after sitting in a publicly funded taxi from, can you believe this, from Italy to France, over 600 miles. The taxi fare was in excess of £1,000. And I'm presuming that maybe one of them were getting a little bit, air sickness. That's why you couldn't go on a publicly funded jolly on the plane. So you had to sit down. And what was the excuse you gave to the finance department to sanction you and your partner sitting in a cab and being driven for hours? What did she get? A little bit of a cabin nausea? Does she suffer, or you suffer with acrophobia? So you can't be in a plane? It's a little too high for you, and therefore the public needed to cough up close to £1,000 in taxi fares for one journey for you and your wife, so that you could sit down and look out the window and not experience whatever discomfort we, the public, subsidized by virtue of paying for the cab. So you didn't have to fly or something. I mean, what did you actually say to the finance department? Or do they just give you a threshold of spending and you then say, well, okay, if you don't spend more than £5,000, basically anything you want, you can run through. Is that how it works? Who in their right mind, coming from Tottenham, knowing the life that people live in Tottenham, in Haringey, in some of the poorest parts of the borough, is going to take £1,000 so that you and your wife can sit in a taxi? You could have given that to, a local organisation in Northumberland Park, or the, Caribbean Community Centre in Turnpike Lane, which has been closed for however long. Not that you would know. You know what I'm saying? Not that you would know anything about the Caribbean community in Tottenham, Mr. David Lammy. The point I'm making as to the reason why one is somewhat exercised is because David Lammy has now found himself in a situation where he is suing the taxi driver and the taxi driver is suing him, or effectively they're both reporting it to the police because he did not want to pay the rest of the cab fare. The taxi driver, who I'm more inclined to believe, not Mr. Lammy, who, as far as I'm concerned, is drinking from the nipple of nepotism. So I'm far more inclined to believe the taxi driver, and the taxi driver said only a certain amount of money was paid. Mr. Lammy countered that the taxi driver drove off with his luggage and when they got the luggage back, there was no money in there. Maybe the taxi driver sought to do the reconciliation in advance of returning the luggage. Because let's face it, if you're getting a booking for £1,000, that's not happening every day. You want to make sure you recover your funds at the end of the day. But the reason I want to bring this to your attention more than anything was that what is the mindset that says that's a good idea? He's a foreign secretary. And what was he doing in Italy on a state visit with the king? No one's asking that question. And who paid for that? For him and his wife to go swanning around in ugly looking shoes, shaking hands and delivering what exactly for the British public or the residents of Tottenham, Bruce Grove or Turnpike Lane? So what I'm trying to say is that David Lammy has morphed. He has moved into the stage like a moth. You know, you start with the chrysalis, you move into the caterpillar, then you have the pupa, and then after that you evolve into a butterfly. Well, he's not evolving into a butterfly. He's evolving into a grossly ineffective foreign secretary who appears to want to have loads of jollies at the public expense. And as far as I'm concerned, we have sunk exceptionally low if this is the outcome and this is the product that we get in our foreign office as a representative of this country. Someone who's dodging their taxi fares after how many pay rises, special allowances, because you get special allowances when you climb up the tree. So you're not missing any meals. You know what I'm saying, David, Mr. Lammy? You can afford to pay the lowly taxi driver who I'm sure, who I'm more inclined to believe, is in the right on this particular occasion. So did you hear about David Lammy dodging his taxi fares? Do you think that he'll be jumping up all over LBC to discuss that particular incident? Probably not. Give me your thoughts, your 2 pence, your 3 cities, and your declining dollar price. You're listening to the Headley Highlight Show's Headley Headspaces. I hope you enjoyed it. I absolutely loved composing it, and I think you can tell. See you next week. Oh, don't forget, make a donation at deniseheadley.com and cut!